Mrs. Maisel's brisket, but marvelous nevertheless. I don't know how many of you watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but I was absolutely glued to that show. I thought it was so much fun, had so much soul. And of course, one of the things that intrigued me about that show was her brisket that she always took to the nightclub so she could get her husband on stage. Now, I've been a vegan for, gosh, over 40 years and vegetarian for over 50, so I can tell you I've never actually had brisket. But it intrigued me so much, I had to figure out, what is it like? So I asked my friends who were omnivores or meat eaters and said, well, what is brisket like? And they kind of described it, and I tried to make it. So that's what we're making today. We are going to make what I call not Mrs. Maisel's brisket, but marvelous nevertheless. So let's get started. Okay, it's super easy, as I always say. We're going to get started in a blender where we're going to make a mixture of flavored broth that we're going to combine with vital wheat gluten and pea protein. So I am going to add 3/4 cup water. I've got 3/4 cup wine here, but I'm not going to add it all, about a half a cup or so. Reserve the rest for the broth. I have some soy sauce here, about 1/4 cup. You can use tamari if you like. And I have some olive oil. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil to this. And then we're going to add some mushrooms. We're going to add mushrooms directly to this. This is going to become the liquid in which we mix the vital wheat gluten and the pea protein. And the mushrooms, of course, are going to add a lot of umami. I need garlic too, so give me a second to peel these. Okay, I'm back with the garlic. I got 4 cloves, and by the way, that was 5 ounces of mushrooms. And I am now going to blend this. All right, that is ready, and the top almost flew off and almost put me at jeopardy of having a dirty ceiling. All right, I got vital wheat gluten and pea protein here. This is unflavored pea protein. You can usually get it at any natural food store. And now we're going to mix this. All right, in goes 2 cups of vital wheat gluten and 3/4 cup of unflavored pea protein. I'm just gonna whisk this really, really, really well. And the pea protein is gonna help provide that sort of flaky texture that apparently brisket has. And now we're gonna mix in this mixture. And we're going to combine it all, and then we're going to knead it for a few minutes. Now you can knead this on the counter or a cutting board, or you can just keep it in the bowl and just knead it in there. You want to go for 3 or 4 minutes until it develops a nice sort of sinewy consistency. Okay, you see those sinewy strands? That's what we're looking for. Okay, now we're going to try to put this together into a log. You can do this in 4 logs or 2. I'm going to try to keep it relatively big. So I'm going to cut this in half. We're going to pat this down till it's about a 1/2 inch thick. You can use a rolling pin or just the strength of your own muscles. All right, you're gonna wanna get a deep skillet like this and get it nice and hot. We're gonna add a couple more tablespoons of olive oil to the pan. We're gonna get the oil nice and hot before we add the steaks. Okay, let's see if that's hot enough. You want it hot so it doesn't end up sticking. Oil's not quite hot enough, just gonna wait another second. Okay, I think the oil might be finally hot enough. And we're gonna cook these on both sides, get them nice and brown. Look at that lovely color on these steaks. Now these are gonna more than double in size because we're gonna be cooking it in the broth. So they will serve about 6 to 8 people. Okay, so when you have that beautiful color on both sides, you can go ahead and pour over them. Oh yes, 4 cups of mushroom broth. and a 1/4 cup of red wine, and a little more if you want. And now we're just gonna cover this, and we're gonna let it cook for 30 to 40 minutes. Let's see if I can flip this over. Good job, okay. Oh yeah, nice and sinewy. Oh boy, this looks so good. I've got some guests coming over this weekend. I think I'm gonna use this. I have a truffle roulade recipe using this brisket. This is so tender. It is gonna firm up a little bit when it cools, but apparently brisket is really, really tender, sort of falls apart, and this actually does that. So if you're making tacos or something, you can just sort of shred it. Just look at that. Just see how the fibers just sort of falls apart. And it is so tender. I'm gonna just pull the, oh my God. It's so flavorful. It's insane how good this is. Wow. I mean, you don't even need anything else. But I'm gonna really spruce this up this weekend with a truffle mixture and a demi-glace sauce. But oh my God, it's so good just the way it is. It's so tender, so full of umami. Oh, just look at that. Wow. Do you see it just falls apart. Look at that. It's so amazing. It's marvelous. Just like, I don't know, maybe this will get me a comedy gig. What do you think? Well, thanks for joining another episode of The Vegan Good Life with Miyoko. If you liked it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. That is good. I'm not making it up.